Welcome back to Twin Football. The international break is over, and that means we have picks and predictions for match week 12 of the EPL. Thank you very much for joining us. We got Jacob, of course. But before we get into these picks and predictions for match week 12, Jacob, we have to start with the news over the last couple of days. Pep Guardiola signed a 2-year extension, keeping him at the club until 2027. So I
Massive.
have to ask you the big question. Are they adding 2 more years because that's when they finally think they're going to beat this losing streak?
Holy crap. Yeah, it might take us 2 years with how we're playing if our players keep getting injured at this rate. Wow, you really caught me off guard with that one. No, it's such a great signing for the club, probably the most important one, even out of all the players, to keep Pep. He has revolutionized this club, and getting him for 2 more years, especially addressing the elephant in the room, the 115 charges. It's a good sign that Pep Guardiola has confidence that the club will still be above water in the next couple of years.
Yeah. Yeah. Even this is supposed to be Manchester United's big week with the Ruben Amorim coming his first week in charge, and Manchester City still took over the news with Pep adding 2 more years. But a great slate of games, especially when you look at the managerial perspective. So let's go ahead and dive in with the early kickoff game this weekend. Always a tough spot after an international break, and that sees Enzo Maresca returning to Leicester City and the King Power Stadium after last year guiding them to a title winning season in the championship, despite those last 15 or so games where they lost a 10+ point lead. The good thing this time is he's going to be managing Chelsea at the King Power, and his players were all on rest during the international break. Cole Palmer withdrew from England. Gusto withdrew from the U21s in France. Lavia was battling a little bit of an injury after that Arsenal game. Through the second half of that game, was taken off before the 80th minute, and that one has been resting over the last 2 weeks. And that is very important because we know Enzo likes to rest those South Americans who are coming late to join, especially when he's got early kickoff. So we'll see. Hopefully, Lavia join. We'll see if Casado gets the pull there. We know Enzo most likely will not be. I would love to see Lavia and Caicedo both starting in this one. Reece James out with another hamstring injury. And it just begs the question, what do Chelsea fans want from Reece James, captain? Keeps injuring this hamstring. We've said it on
Just
this
sell him.
many times before. So tough. We've said it so many times before, whether that's Cooper Cup in the NFL with the Rams, Diego Costa back in the day with Chelsea. Once you hurt a hamstring, it's going to keep
Van de
happening. So
Ven.
Van de Ven as well. And so we'll see what happens there. So we'll like Gusto to start on the right hand side, Cucurella to start on the left hand side. Hopefully Lavia and Caicedo start in the middle. A rested Cole Palmer moving forward, and we'll see what the other options bring. Leicester conceding 17 shots per game in the Premier League so far will bode well for all of those guys getting the rest. So give me a easy Chelsea win in Enzo Maresca's return to the King Power.
Yep. Chelsea's still hot, in my opinion. I like that pick. Fulham taking on Wolves in West London is our next matchup. Fulham coming off that 2-0 win against Palace. Harry Wilson following up his miracle game-winning brace against Brentford with another goal in this one. He's on fire right now. Fulham sit in 7th place, but there's only 1 point separating 3rd place Chelsea and 9th place Aston Villa. I'm going to be talking about that a lot today. I've never seen the upper half of the
Yeah.
table this close before. It's actually insane. The 3rd place team could be in 10th tomorrow. I've never seen it like this.
Hey,
11
don't
games
say
into the
that.
season.
Don't
Yeah,
say that.
the 4th place team
Chelsea off
perhaps.
3 points.
Yeah.
There it is.
Wolves are coming off their first win of the season, 2-0 win against Southampton that we rightly predicted. Cunha getting on the score sheet again. He's been great for them this year, filling in offensively for the missing Pedro Neto, who signed for Chelsea, obviously. They still sit in the relegation zone, but they're only 2 points away from the safe zone. So this win will do wonders for their confidence. I still like Fulham here, but I could see Wolves gaining confidence and making it difficult for them.
Yeah, they're really going to need to get it going. That will also be the same boat that Everton will feel like they are in. Only 3 goals in their last 5. They're going to want to get going so they can get themselves out of that relegation zone. They take on a Brentford team that is red hot on the scoring end, but that is predominantly when they are at home. We saw a great turnaround against Bournemouth in a 3-2 win last time out before the international break, but they have 0 wins on the road this season. Everton got Branthwaite back in their last 0-0 draw against West Ham before the break. McNeil, who's been battling a knee injury, also looks like he will be coming back. McNeil, one of those great big chance creators in the Premier League. Having him back, getting Broja back for a full week of practice could be good. I don't know why they keep sticking with Dominic Calvert-Lewin over and over again when you have Beto coming off of the bench and getting goals, when you have Broja now hopefully healthy. I'm hoping that they can get some rotation up top there, allow McNeil to feed these different types of strikers and get Everton's attack moving forward and getting goals. Brentford, no clean sheets as well on the road this year, is the reason why I'm giving Everton a must-need win at home at Goodison over Brentford.
I like it. That should be a really good one. Next up, we got Arsenal taking on Forest at the Emirates. 4th place taking on 5th place here, which is just crazy to say. Forest has been just the dark horse of the season thus far. Arsenal are coming off a draw against Chelsea. They haven't won in 4 straight Premier League games at this point. It's not where they expected to be. Declan Rice is out for this one, but luckily Calafiori should be back from his knee injury. Saka is finally fit, which in my opinion is their best player. So that will do wonders for their confidence. Kai Havertz, though, needs to step up. He's only 4 out of Arsenal's 18 goals this season. He hasn't scored in his last 4 Premier League games. Our criticism of Arsenal going into the season, the reason we didn't pick them to win the league, was that they didn't have a consistent striker. The season pretty hot, but he needs to rebound if Arsenal wants to have any chance to win the title. Nottingham Forest coming off that 3-1 loss against Newcastle after an insane hot streak. It finally ended their 4-game unbeaten run. And Chris Wood also was on a 4-game scoring streak that ended there. What an amazing start to the season, though, for Forest. Nuno Espirito Santo has done wonders for that club who were battling relegation pretty much all of last season. I got Arsenal in this one. I think Nottingham Forest start to come back to the ground after flying so high. I still think they'll do well. I'm not sure if they get a European spot, but I could easily see top half of the table with how they're playing. And yeah, they're just fun to watch.
Yeah, the Emirates is a tough place to get a win. And Bournemouth on the South Coast is also a tough place to get a win. The 5 games so far this season, Bournemouth have played the likes of Liverpool, Chelsea, um, City, Arsenal, Southampton, and Newcastle so far, and I have a 3-1-1 record. They're at home and arguably should have even beaten Chelsea when Chelsea came to town after the last international break. Brighton will now come to town, hopefully getting healthy, getting João Pedro back, who was instrumental in their win last time against Manchester City, getting the goal and 5 minutes later getting an assist as a super sub. They will also be wondering if they're going to put Dunk back in the lineup. He's been out since a hamstring injury in warmups against Wolves a couple of weeks ago. Have sidelined him, but Igor and Van Hecke has been fantastic over the last couple of weeks. Obviously beating City 2-1, but still good performances against Liverpool for Brighton. With that back to pairing, I would like to see Dunk not playing in this game just because of the speed of that front 5 from Bournemouth. I know I'm not a big Evangelson fan. I know you are a major fan of him, but I think just the speed that Bournemouth can provide around him would cause Dunk more problems than Van Hecke. So I like Igor and Van Hecke to stick as the pair in that back line. We'll see if Estupiñán, coming back from Ecuador a little bit late, as they play Tuesday night. Hopefully he will get the start. We know how good he can be moving forward as well for Brighton. But Bournemouth beat Brighton 3-0 last time out in April in this fixture last year, only a couple months ago, and I expect all 3 points to be going Bournemouth's way again, just with their home form.
Yeah, look at that home form. We picked every home team so far. Next up, we got Manchester City taking on Tottenham. Both teams have been severely underperforming up to this point.
City sits at second in the table and is underperforming.
5 points clear of first in only 11 games into the season is not what we expected going into this one. I'll take the second place for now, though, with all our injuries. City are on a 4-game losing streak and are 5 points back from Liverpool. Like I said, Tottenham are on a 2-game losing streak and they sit 10th on the table. Tottenham got the best of City in the Carabao Cup a few weeks ago. Manchester City are coming off a tough loss against Brighton. Pep really needs to bench Rico Lewis. I know there's not that many other options right now, but that performance against Brighton was one of the worst I've seen in a City shirt in recent history. And his head's not there. Defensively, he's just such a liability, and I'd really like for him to be benched for this one. John Stones and Akanji should be fit for this, so you can move Gvardiol on the left and Rico back on the bench with Kyle Walker on the right. Kovacic is recent news. Kovacic is out for about a month, maybe more. So they're lacking in the CDM. They're going to have to play probably Mateus Nunes, center defensive mid. He's been playing a lot on the left with the injuries with Grealish and Doku and Oscar Bob and Savio. Savio should be back. They're just dealing with so many injuries right now. It's a really tough time, but again, still within reach of first on the table. So they'll have to just get through this hard time. If they can get through some of these injury spells within striking distance of a couple games against Liverpool, then who knows? Tottenham are coming off a bad loss to Ipswich Town. Son scored a nice goal, though, in a 1-1 draw against Palestine in the World Cup qualifiers a couple days ago. He's back fit, which is huge for this club. He played against Ipswich, though, and they lost, which I don't think anyone expected. So Solanke is also fit. So super good news for Tottenham, but they're running out of excuses. Offensively, at least, they should have put up more against Ipswich. Van de Ven, we mentioned this earlier. He's still dealing with that hamstring injury. You hate to see that. And he's just a speedster. That's his whole game. And you need that hamstring to be able to sprint the way he does for 90 minutes. I am really worried. Maybe he should take like an extended break here. He keeps like last season, he had the same injury and he keeps coming back and quickly re-injuring it. He's only 23. So I really hope he figures it out. He's one of the hottest center backs in the world right now. Romero and Van de Ven is out for this. So I think Holland is going to get some chances in this one. I don't see Manchester City winning right now. I know it might be recency bias with the recent form, and this one is at home, but I'm going draw here because I just don't see it happening, especially with the Kovacic injury.
Yeah, I mean, who do you have? Just play 5 center backs in Holland, basically. You have midfielders are all out, but that'd be winless in 3 in the Premier League for Manchester City. I personally think that it's too early to write off even a team like Arsenal, who find themselves 9 points off of the top of the table. Yeah. But if City do leave this with a draw, now 12 games into the season, your title hopes completely dashed after this?
No, I don't think so. If it was Jurgen Klopp managing Liverpool, he's been there through a grueling Premier League season. 12, it'll be 12 matches in. Nothing bad to say about Arne Slot, but experience is a big deal at this level. And I don't trust Liverpool to not drop points as they get further along in the season, especially with Europe. Next up, we got Aston Villa taking on Crystal Palace. Aston Villa are coming off a 2-0 loss against Liverpool, which you had to say they deserve to lose, and you rightly predicted. They sit 9th place on the table, but again, only 1 point away from 3rd place Chelsea. So by Monday, they could be in third place if everything goes right. John McGinn with goals in both of Scotland's wins during the international break. He had a big one against a 10-man Croatia in the 87th minute for the win. It was so hyped to watch the Scotland's announcers call that. Good for them. That's a big win. I know they're playing 10 men and it's just the UEFA Nations League, but that's still cool for a country like Scotland that doesn't have those wins all the time. It looks like John McGinn is fully back in form after recovering from a decently lengthy injury. He came off the bench in the Croatia game to score that winner. So maybe he's not fully match fit, but we'll see. I'm sure he's getting there. Crystal Palace are coming off a 2-0 loss against Fulham. Kamada with a straight red card effectively sealed the game for Fulham. Had to be a red card. That was a horrible challenge with the studs up.
So bad.
They're getting close to breaking out of that relegation zone finally. I don't think it happens this week, but I really do see it happening before the turn of the year and the second half of the games. Southampton, Ipswich, and Wolves are going down. I'm calling it right now. Lock that in. Yeah, I got Aston Villa in this one at Villa Park, but like I said, I think Crystal Palace are starting to find their legs here.
Yeah, definitely a tough time to go and play away at Villa. It's also a very tough time to play Liverpool, 13 unbeaten and only one draw in those last 13 across all competitions for the Champions League table leaders, the Premier League table leaders in Liverpool. Southampton, we know their struggles at home over the Premier League. The last two times they've been in the Premier League, they've struggled at home. They've struggled to even score goals at home, let alone score enough to beat Liverpool. I got nothing, but you already marked it. Liverpool win. It's just nothing.
Yeah. You think Southampton tries to play it out from the back in this one?
They're going to have to just do something. I mean, I don't know what you're supposed to do here. They've been trying to play out of the back all season. It hasn't worked. They continue to do it. They continue to concede goals. They've conceded 21 goals so far this season. It's not going to, that's 2 goals a game practically. It's not going to stop them. They're not going to circle this game as a game to get anything from when it comes to try to get out of the relegation zone. So
yeah,
might as well keep going.
Yeah, Diego Jota is still out. Should be back by around mid-December. Darwin Núñez has had the past 2 starts in that striker role. He's got to take advantage of these minutes. He got a goal last week, but he really needs to perform if he wants to keep starting. I think this team is so much more potent with Jota in that false 9 role, and I don't really trust these strikers. I like Darwin Núñez, but I still don't trust him to be a consistent goal threat. He's a great player, but I don't know if number 9's the right number for him. But either way, Liverpool in that one. Next up, we got Ipswich Town taking on Manchester United. Ipswich Town are coming off a massive win against Spurs.
Go Ed!
They are officially the last team since they played on Sunday and Wolves played on Saturday to get a win. So every team has a nice at least one win in that column. No teams are unbeaten. We're officially into the middle of the season here, or getting there at least. And that win was enough to put them out of the relegation zone. So that's got to do wonders for them. Delap now has 6 goals in 11 matches. Only Erling Haaland and Chris Wood have contributed more to their team's overall goal percentage. He's playing so well. He could strike with both feet. I really love watching this guy play. Manchester United are coming off an easy 3-0 win against Leicester City to seal Van Nistelrooy's legacy as the best manager since Sir Alex Ferguson. He's undefeated in 4 matches. Okay, I'm joking here. It was 4 games. But yeah, including him. But there will be some pressure on Amorim to perform with what Ruud just did, just naturally. They played Leicester twice, and one of them I think was a Carabao Cup game and a Europa League game. So not a huge deal, but when you go unbeaten for 4, when you had that horrible loss with Ten Hag against West Ham, you got to feel like you want Amorim to start on the ground running. Amorim is looking to instill his 3-4-3 formation with this United team that has predominantly played a 4-2-3-1, which is a completely different formation. This is going to be a big learning curve for both Amorim as he gets used to his new players and just the players learning the system. It will be interesting to focus in on who he chooses for the wingback positions. I think Amorim will be desperate for Luke Shaw to get healthy. I think he will fit super well into that left wingback position. We'll see if he's fit. He's another one of those guys that just never seems to be fit, kind of like the opposite foot Reece James. On the other side, I think Mazraoui would be a great fit in the right wingback position. He can play attacking mid, and he's been doing great at right back. So put that together, and the right wing back could be a good spot for him. Pace on him too, so he'll fit nicely in that right wing back position. I could also, though, this might be a weird shout, but I think Mainu could oddly fit good in that position. He's been not seeing too many minutes with Casemiro and Ugarte playing for Van Nistelrooy. In the 3-4-3, there's only 2 center mids. In the 4-2-3-1, obviously you have 3. So it was easier for Mainu to get into that side. It's going to be difficult for him to have an argument to get back in the center mid. Maybe you could play him there in the right wing back. Then for the back three, it'll be also interesting to see if Maguire gets pulled back in. He's another one who's been riding the bench since Van Nistelrooy has taken over. And obviously, Lissandro and De Ligt will definitely be starters in this system. Either way, lots of changes ahead. It's exciting times for United fans after finally sacking Ten Hag. I think they've had the luxury since sacking Ten Hag, and maybe this was intentional, to have an easy stretch of games to get their confidence back and deal with all the changes. They've got an easy one, although it is away against Ipswich, and I'm giving them all 3 points.
Hey, they played Chelsea in that stretch, okay? That was a good performance. 3rd place, okay?
Fair enough.
Trying to kick us out of 3rd place.
I forgot about that one, to be fair.
I personally think that Casemiro, especially long term, your new manager coming in, you're going to look at Casemiro and be like, okay, yes, maybe a year or 2 left at the top level for him. I personally think he isn't consistent enough at the top level anymore since maybe midpoint of last season. So I would like Mainu and Ugarte to be in there in the center moving forward, at least more on a consistent basis, getting them more playing time in those 2 positions. I agree with you. Mazraoui have to play right back because United got rid of Wan-Bissaka, who now plays for West Ham as they take on Newcastle.
Oh, yeah, he would fit
at
perfectly
St.
in that
James's Park. And I don't know what to make. West Ham, right? You mentioned it earlier. They got that great win against Manchester United, but they could have conceded 7 goals in that game against Manchester United. They then conceded 4 against Spurs. They've conceded 13 goals in their last 4 away games in all competitions, including 5 to Liverpool in the Cup a couple of weeks ago. They take on Newcastle at home. We know Newcastle at home. They're one of the best environments, one of the best home informed teams at home as well. They have 3 consecutive wins at home, including wins against Chelsea, Forest, and Arsenal. Obviously, the one game against Chelsea was in the Cup, but still top 5 teams in the Premier League this season.
Forest.
And yeah, Forest. Hey, I'm a big proponent. Keep the top 4 of the Premier League to teams who've won a European Cup. All right. So Arsenal can skedaddle, and we can welcome in Forest or a Villa, like you mentioned earlier, if they could get a win and leapfrog a couple of teams here. But
Arsenal can skedaddle. Someone quote that.
Clip it up. I only picked them to win the Premier League, but that's besides the point. West Ham, I think they're just waiting. They're waiting for somebody to fire Lopetegui and sack him and figure out a new path forward. Kudus should have been back for this game, but they got a 2-game suspension added on to his straight red card that he got to Tottenham a couple weeks ago. West Ham in their last 4 away games, not only those 13 goals conceded, but 3 red cards in those games as well. So they can't do anything right. They concede all over the place. There's no structure. The counterattack, they just are a gaping hole, sieve everywhere, holes everywhere. And so give me Newcastle comfortably, and that is all she wrote. All right, that will do it from us here at Twin Football. We cover the Premier League and the NFL, but we got a bonus video coming for you in the next couple of days. The greatest rivalry in all of sports, Ohio State and the University of Michigan, as we prep for the game that kicks off the end of November after Thanksgiving. So come back and join us and enjoy the football.